Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the second ever Save My Movies, the show in which we take a topic and we go into a multiverse in a different dimension where we can only save three movies within that topic, and the rest are erased from existence. Now, we had a great time doing this a couple of weeks ago with Pixar movies, of which I think most people can agree they're at a pretty high standard. And I did that one with the lovely Ben, who is joining me today again. First of all, before I get into anything, how you doing, Ben?
I'm good, thanks. I love this idea that you had and loving the the series.
Thank you very much. Well, I've chosen Ben today because I've chosen a topic where I basically wanted to torture myself because the topic of today's Save My Movies is video game movies. Now, I have to be honest, this was not the easiest to pick, and not because I was wrapped up with so many choices like Pixar a few weeks ago, where it was really hard to narrow it down to three. I struggled to find three I want to save. Now, luckily, I have Ben with me, who is a big fan of video game movies, apparently, because he was struggling to find three. So I'm thinking this is going to be a good dynamic. Ben is a big fan. I can't stand the majority of them. So we're going to see how this goes. Chances are I haven't seen a lot of the ones Ben has picked, but as the way it works with this show, I don't know what Ben's picks are. Ben's doesn't know what my picks are. We're gonna talk about the movies we have. We're gonna debate them, and at the end of it, we're gonna come up with three. If we both have a movie on our list, then it automatically goes on to the saved. If one has it and the other doesn't, or it's on one of our honorable mentions, it goes to discussion. And some of them we'll just decide then and then that it needs to be forgotten, and the rest of them will be forgotten from existence. So, Ben, without further ado, would you like to kick us off with one of your honourable mentions
Yes, I
for
would.
video game movies?
Sure. And my honorable mention is, and people will hate me for this. I know the internet hated this movie, but I don't care. Warcraft. Yes, I knew you would
And
hate it. I knew you would hate it.
this is exactly why I said this is torture for me with this category, because to be honest, Ben, I can't even be mad at you for picking it because the choices are so limited. And like
Aren't
Warcraft,
though.
there's bits in it which are acceptable. So for me, that makes it one of the top five in video game movies because it's not all crap. But you're a fan, so I'm gonna hand the reins over to you on this one, and you can tell everyone why you love Warcraft so much.
Okay, so firstly, special effects are fantastic. I love the special effects in this movie. Awesome. Um, Secondly, the story of the wizard. Now, I didn't get into Warcraft until Warcraft 3, and by the time I got into that, I didn't have all that backstory, and that kind of built up the backstory that was laid in Warcraft 1, maybe even 2. Um, and the I really wish this had had a sequel, because after
Oh, please
this
no, please no.
comes Thrall.
Sorry.
No, seriously. After this comes Thrall, and Thrall's story is just fantastic, and he basically becomes the war chief that saves the orcs, and because of that, I kind of wanted to see them have a sequel to this one. The baby that she let off into the water to save, beautiful. The sacrifice at the end, I won't spoil much, but the sacrifice at the end for the lady to kind of be the go between was, for me at least, well earned. And if they'd had a sequel, I think it could have at least built something on that. And so, yeah, I kind of like the actors; they were good in their roles. So yeah, that's why I like this movie.
Fair enough. All film is subjective, right? and that's great that you enjoyed it. But for me, it was an absolute bore fest. I'm so bored. Um, Granted, I'm not a Warcraft player, so I feel like if I was, I may have enjoyed it more. But I couldn't tell you what happened. To be fair, I've watched it once. I was so bored, I cannot remember anything. I will give you the graphics weren't bad. Looked right. CGI was pretty good. So that is a
Yeah,
compliment I can give to this movie. But I don't think you're alone, Ben. And to be fair, with the quality of movies that video game category has, it's very much maybe
yeah.
on the saved. Like I could
I
be
mean,
easily swayed with this one. I won't lie, because there are some parts of the movie which I don't think are horrible.
at least it's not Super Mario Bros.
Okay, yeah, that's just Joe. What? Let's just not even do anything else that's going on here immediately.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, when I was researching for ideas, I was like, oh, of course, that movie was made, right? They are doing an
Yep.
animated one this year with Chris Pratt, I
Which
think,
will be
playing
better.
Mario. That might be okay. It's got to be better than that pile of turd, hasn't it? Um, okay, so the way this show usually works is that we come up with two honourable mentions and then your top three. I could not come up with two for this because even my top three, I only like one of my movies. The other two I just think are okay. So I have one honorable mention, and it's I don't even I could quite easily this could be forgotten. I wouldn't lose any sleep about it. But my honorable mention was Hitman.
Okay.
Ben, is that on your list?
No, because I have not yet seen it.
Okay, fair enough. All I will say is I remember watching this movie with my dad a few years ago, and I didn't fall asleep. So that's why it's on my honorable mention list. No, it was fine. It was fine. The some of the action was quite cool. Some of the kills were quite cool, but it was kind of expected with a Hitman movie. The actual story and the plot, meh. Like it just you didn't just it's all you had to do was John Wick. Like John Wick is 1,000 times better than this movie. Um, Not my favorite, but again, like I said, it's like trying to find the like least smelly turd out of a pile of turds with this category for me. So it's on
Wow.
my it's on my list. Ben, it's not on yours, so I think I'm going to put it straight on forgotten because it's not even on your honorable mentions, and I really
Mm.
couldn't care less if it's saved. So it's going straight on there.
Fair enough.
You
Fair
do
enough.
have another honorable mention, so
I
would you like to
do.
talk about that one?
I'm kind of stuck between this one and my number three, but I'm going to go for it anyway. I'm gonna put Silent Hill uh in my honorable mentions.
Silent Hill. Okay, I have to be
Yeah.
honest that this is one I haven't seen, so I can't sit here and say if it's good or not. I haven't seen Silent Hill, so I will have to just
Okay.
defer to your judgment on this one.
So no spoilers, but the ending is a fantastic twist. The uh, the story leading up to that was kind of like a thrill. Like you, the way I remember it, it was kind of like I didn't even realize it was a video game movie the way I was watching it because at the time I wasn't into horror games, and my friend just said, "Okay, let's watch this movie," and I watched. He said it's called Silent Hill, and I watched the movie, and I didn't even realize it was a video game movie. That's how good it was for me, because like the story was compelling. The twist at the end was amazing. Maybe a little bit obvious, but still it was awesome to see. And for that reason alone, I have to put it in my honorable mentions.
Do you know what? It already sounds better than the other ones. I mean, you did a good job of selling it. I mean, out of everything we spoke about so far, I would much rather watch that than any of the other ones so far. So, that's got potential. It's got potential to go make the list. So that's it for honourable mentions. I'm now going to go on to my top three. Now, like I said, I'm not a fan of this category of films in general. But my number three was actually a little bit of a pleasant surprise. I was not expecting much from it, but I actually thought it was decent and I enjoyed it. So for this category, that is a win. And my number three was Sonic from. Is it on your list, Ben?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
What number?
Number 2.
Oh wow! I'm really surprised. I didn't. I thought I'd be the only one who has that. Okay, Sonic is saved. It's on both our lists. It's automatic. It's saved. I hope we haven't got the same top three because this is gonna be a very quick episode.
I
It's
doubt we
the
have the
only
same
issue with
top
not
3.
telling each other. Um, Wow. Okay. So I'm going to talk about it first. So, like I said, I really was not expecting anything from this movie. I thought that when the first trailer came out, I thought it looked absolutely horrific. They then, then was that big petition to get Sonic changed because he looked really strange. And then they remodeled him, and he looked a lot better. And then I think I was just really bored one evening and I was like, oh, I didn't watch, I'll give it a go. And I was pleasantly surprised. It was actually really charming. It made me laugh. I really, really like Jim Carrey back as Dr. Eggman. He hasn't really done much recently. So the fact that we got to see him in a role where he can be like iconic Jim Carrey really was really nice to see again. And I was surprised. I thought it was quite enjoyable, to be honest. I liked the chemistry between Sonic and the main guy. Sorry, I can't remember his name. I think Ben Schwartz is the voice of Sonic, which is like perfect casting. Um, I'm actually excited for the sequel. Like, I want to see it. Like, we got Knuckles and Tails, Idris Elba as Knuckles, and I did not think I'd be saying that before watching Sonic. I used to play Sonic a lot as a kid as well. So I was really pleasantly surprised by it. I will even go as far to say I like the movie, which, like I said,
Mhm.
in this category is a massive win because most of these films on the video game movie list are all awful. But the fact it's okay, maybe even good, has to be on my top three. It's all, now, Ben, for you, this is number two, which I'm really surprised about.
Yeah.
But tell us why.
So, um, the reason it was my number 2 was because there was one that beat it for me. But the so actually, it may even be my number 1 because I'm going to take that off the list. So it's actually my number 1. Um,
Oh,
so yeah.
last minute
But
change.
yes, yeah, just because it's not really based on real gaming, but we'll get into that later. But I feel very so. I felt really bad for the graphics designers having to last minute go back and change every scene
I bet it did look
that
better.
Sonic was in. It did look better, but let's be honest, that must have been like
Oh, I know, but Ben,
days
like,
and days and days of not sleeping to get that
but
done.
before they changed it, it was actually creepy. Like that
It
first
was.
trailer, I was getting nightmares. And it's supposed to be a film for kids. Like, come on, it had to
Exactly,
be done.
straight into the uncanny valley that went.
Exactly.
But yeah, the movie was good. A few positives for me: the mixed race couple, which I was complaining to my family that I wanted to see more mixed race couples in movies and series. So that was a positive for me. The story itself was awesome. Uh, Having played Sonic and not really gotten much of a story out of it, I preferred the cartoons to the game for me. And this being a nice twist on the Sonic story was awesome. Sonic getting a family at the end, beautiful. And it was all just fantastic. Him discovering his powers. It was basically a superhero origin story,
Hmm. Hmm.
and that's why it's top of my list. It's awesome. It crosses genres. It you it like Silent Hill. If you didn't know it was a video game movie, you would still enjoy it.
No, I agree with most of what you said. I wouldn't quite put it in the awesome category, but it's good and it's fun. It is it's number one. It's a lot of fun and it made me smile, and that's a lot more than I can say for the other movies in this category. So for that alone, it deserves to be saved. So I've revealed my number three, which was your number. Well, you said it was your number one, but you had something else. So I wonder. I have a feeling I might know what that one was. Um, but I will, and I think it might be on my list, but I might be getting that wrong. But we'll move on to your number three now, Ben. So what
If it
was
is,
your
I'll
number
be
three
very
pick?
surprised because if mine former number one was on your list, I'll be very surprised because it's kind of a cult
Okay, maybe
classic
not then.
movie and was a box office bomb. But yeah, my number three was Tekken. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
I haven't seen Tekken. I have not
Okay,
seen it. So
have you
I will.
played
I
Tekken?
will. Tekken is the like fighting game, isn't it? Is that
Yes, yes.
I have played it like very occasionally at like arcades and things like that. Can't say I know a lot about Tekken. I won't lie, until you've just said it, I wasn't aware there was a movie based on Tekken.
Oh yeah,
Um, but
came out in
you can
2010.
no, I had no idea. So I again I thought this might happen with this category today because a lot of these movies aren't very good. So I will rely on your judgment and whatever, and just see what you thought of it and go from there.
So I would recommend at least watching this, maybe getting high or drunk. Not really.
Just in
Not
general,
not a,
or to watch the movie?
to watch the movie, I would say, but like it's nothing groundbreaking, right? It's not Avengers Endgame levels of good, but it's basically a fighting tournament movie, and quite frankly, it's a fighting tournament movie done well. The characters have good motivation. The bad guy's motivation is there. You can kind of see where it's coming from. The good guy. So the bad guy kills the good guy's mother because he doesn't want him taking over from his family.
Okay.
He basically had an affair with this woman, got her pregnant, and and he tried to kill his son, um, and he ended up killing his son's mother, and so he joins this fighting tournament to take revenge,
Hmm.
and it's pretty awesome. I I went to, so I watched this with the same friend I watched Silent Hill with, but much later on. And I went into this movie kind of skeptical. Would they do it justice? The whole time I was thinking, yeah, it doesn't really fit the Tekken story. But after a while, I kind of just slipped into this is a fun movie. It's got its fun aspects to it, and therefore I'm just going to enjoy it for what it is. And it was a fun movie if you just sit down and enjoy it for what it is.
Like a
The
popcorn movie.
exactly that's what it is for me. And
Okay.
the characters, the facial features, you can see how they you can pinpoint exactly who they are in the game, which was kind of awesome. The casting was fantastic. Again, special effects were cool, but yeah, that's that's
Okay.
about
Nice pick.
my selling of that movie.
So at the moment, I'm trying to think which one, based on your sales pitch, would I want to watch more out of Tekken or Silent Hill? And I'm not sure. I'm gonna have a think about it. Um, okay, so I'm gonna move on to my number two, and obviously you have to let me know if it's on your list. So
Mhm.
my number two film is Tomb Raider. I should specify,
Yeah.
I'm talking about the one from the Alicia Vikander one, which was I think
Yes.
2018. I'm not talking about the Angelina Jolie, Lara Croft films. They are not on my list.
I think we
Um,
can put that in the forgotten.
um, yeah, let's just put the Lara Croft films, both of them. Um, but the Tomb Raider from I believe it was 2018,
Mhm.
with Alicia Vikander. I actually enjoyed quite a lot. It very much was based on the newer versions of Tomb Raider, which from the PS3 and the PS4 versions. So Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Legacy of the Tomb Raider, and some of the action set pieces which occurred in the movie are also things that occurred in some of them films as well. Um, I just thought it was a really enjoyable ride. Gave me kind of King Kong vibes a little bit, in terms of the sort of setting off, going onto the island, and then like there being villains there, and without the massive gorilla. Obviously, that wasn't part of this one, but I don't know. I just enjoyed it. I thought it was good casting. I liked Alicia Vikander in the role. She brought the physicality to it. Some of the set pieces and the stunts were really good. The one that I have in my mind in particular is the suspended aeroplane, where she has to jump across, and then as she jumps, the wing of the plane falls off. I really enjoyed that. I quite liked the dynamic. I think at the time as well, I was at university, and a lot of the film is set in London, and that kind of made me miss home a little bit. So um, I just thought it was fun, and I'm upset that it never got a sequel.
Mm.
I enjoyed the movie, and like I said, with today's topic, I'm not going to be arguing as hard as maybe I could be if it was Pixar, because
So,
Pixar movies I like in general. But
mm,
it was decent. It was a good adventure, and I really enjoyed the games which came out recently.
yeah.
I've liked playing the newer games, and it very much had those vibes to it. So it was okay. It was good.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't actually watched this movie in its entirety. Again, I've seen clips of it which seem to follow the story of the games a lot, and basically brought the game to life, which I
Mm.
very much enjoyed. So yeah, I like that when movies can bring the game experience to life in a different
Just
genre.
speaking of that, just a quick question: have you watched Uncharted yet with Tom Holland?
I haven't had
Okay,
the
so I have
opportunity.
seen it, and it's very, very much not going to be on my list. So
Okay.
I just wondered if you had watched
Shame.
it.
Poor Tom
So
Holland.
so Tomb Raider goes into the discussion file. We only have one saved movie at the moment, which was on both our lists, being Sonic, which I'm really surprised
Mhm.
about. I thought that was a deep cut hit for me, and you had it as your number one. So then we move on to your number two pick. So what was your number two?
Yes. So my number two is Detective Pikachu.
So you have revealed my number one. Detective Pikachu. Detective
I thought that would be your
Pikachu
number three.
is my number one pick. So all my picks are now
Okay.
out in the open. Yep,
So
I will. You
I'm
you
I'm
you
gonna
speak
start
about
off
it
with
first, but
yeah,
I shall speak about it afterwards. So that automatically means it's on our saved column.
and it
So what am I
deserves
doing?
to be, quite frankly. The animation in this was again fantastic. They brought the Pokemon to life. Um, I watched this when I was still playing Pokemon Go, and watched this with a group of Pokemon Go players, and it was a fantastic experience. I found the plot to be a bit derivative and predictable, but it was still fun to watch and to enjoy. And like it was fun when you don't overanalyze it, and is this a good video game movie, is it not? um, it kind of, you can watch this without having played the game, which is again a good thing for video game movies. I think
Hmm.
that's
That's a
why
good
you
point.
hated Warcraft. For me, yeah. um, so yeah, I think it kind of brings the Pokemon to life in a way that hasn't been done before. And so I very much enjoyed this. Ryan Reynolds
Pika.
playing Pikachu was fantastic. He's awesome. I love Ryan Reynolds. So yeah, and then the romantic subplot was a bit meh, but I don't really mind that so much. So
No, again, obviously, it's my number one pick, so I completely agree with everything you said. I really like the look of the Pokemon in this world. I think they suit that world really well. I think they look aesthetically really pleasing. Um, I really liked Ryan Reynolds' Pikachu, and I thought I would
mhm.
hate it when the trailer came out, and I didn't know the context of why. I was like, why the hell is Pikachu Ryan Reynolds? That doesn't make any sense when all he says is Pika Pika. But then when you understand it within the context of the film, it actually works, and he's really funny. And if you like Ryan Reynolds, then you will like Detective Pikachu because it's the same similar humor that he has in most of his movies. And I like Ryan Reynolds, so yeah, that's cool with me. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, this one's a bit more family friendly than say a Deadpool or whatever it may be. But it's still that sort of like witty, quick humor that Ryan Reynolds does best. I really liked the relationship between well, spoiler alert, but obviously what ends up being his son and like that
Hmm.
sort of quest between him and as Pikachu and the young lad. I think it's really funny. I think there's nice moments throughout. Um, Bill Nye is one of my favorite actors, so the fact he's in this automatically boosts it up to a higher score for me. And I liked his portrayal as Mewtwo and the villain and sort of how that worked out. Um, it's just fun. It's so much fun. It's a good
Mm.
popcorn movie. It's family friendly, and for me to enjoy a movie on this category and actually think it's good, that essentially within the realm of video game movies, this puts this as world class. Like if we took Detective Pikachu and that was part of the Pixar round the other week, there is no way it gets close to being saved. But when we're talking
Mhm.
about video game movies, oh my god, it's by far number one for me. It's by far like such an easy decision because I actually like this movie and it's one of only probably three that I enjoyed out of the list of about 40 video game movies that have been made. So has to be saved. I'm really pleased it's on your list as well because that's the only one I would have fought for, but I don't have to now. Um,
Yeah, and
I
I will
believe.
say
Sorry, go
Ryan
on, Ben.
Reynolds be Ryan Reynolds being that voice and not Pikachu just going Pika 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 really does save the movie for me because that's one of the things that frustrates me about Pokemon is none of the characters actually have personality. Ryan Reynolds gives the Pikachu so much personality,
Oh, I have to disagree
and
with you though. As a Pokemon fan, in terms of the animation, like the animated show, like Team Rocket have so much personality. Obviously
yeah,
Ash is just a little
the
whiny child, and Brock is just so
yeah,
horny all the time.
but
It's really
exactly, you're
bad.
talking about the human characters.
Oh, I see
You're
what you're
talking about the
saying. The
human
actual
characters.
Pokemon. Okay, okay, fair enough, fair
Like
enough.
no disrespect to the animators, they do their best to give it a- animated. They're animated beautifully, and they give it enough character. But there's just that one little notch that it needs that I get from Digimon because a Digimon can speak to their trainers and everything like that. I don't get that from Pokemon. Sorry.
Fair enough, fair enough. Um, yeah, but you can't say if you. I don't know if you've ever watched the animated show, like the original.
Yeah.
Bye Bye Butterfree is like a tearjerker. That is. Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's fantastic animation. Beautifully brings like with the character faces.
I,
It's beautiful.
I
But
understand what you're saying.
yeah,
It's a fair point. And also Pikachu is the lead in this, so if he was saying Pika Pika for an hour and a half, I don't think it'd be very
I
enjoyable.
think people would
Um,
get frustrated.
so,
I would.
but we now have two saved movies. We've got Sonic and Detective Pikachu. Now, Ben, I believe
So
we haven't heard your number one yet, so please go ahead.
yes, this is going to be controversial because it's very loosely based on a video game. It has the same video game style, not really based in the same video game
Oh,
universe. There aren't any of the video game characters like the big chicken or the cactus man. But basically, my Number one was Final Fantasy Spirits Within. Um,
I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I know what that is. But
yes, it is. It's basically a. It's quite a deep cut. It came out in about 2000, 2001. Um, and I watched this with my best friend growing up, and he was a big Final Fantasy fan. And it didn't really have any of the elements. Like, I don't know if you've played Final Fantasy
I played. Is it seven? What's the very famous one? Or am I thinking of something
7.
else?
Yeah, 7
Yeah.
is the famous one. So it has the kind of animation of 12.
Okay.
Has the beautiful storyline. The plot twist at the end is fantastic. And it's basically these aliens come from outer space. They come to Earth, and there's this girl is trying to save the Earth by getting these spirits, and it's almost like Hinduism made
Okay.
alive into a movie. Now, I it speaks about the Gaia spirits and all that sort of thing, which you can see in Hinduism, and it's a fun movie without that Hindu Earth thing. But to me, it was amazing. James Woods is in it, Alec Baldwin. Um,
Oh, it's got a decent cast then.
it has a beautiful, amazing cast. The female actress, the lead, I can't remember her name, but she's amazing in this. Um, I cannot recommend it more. But again, it'll be controversial whether it actually is a video game movie. It's very, very loosely based on a video game.
I've looked it up. I'm going to allow it. As the referee of Save My Movies, I will allow it. It has got 44% on Rotten Tomatoes. And was
Deserves
the
more.
actress you're thinking of Ming Na Wen?
Yes, yes.
That's Ming
And
Na Wen. That's from she's in. Am I thinking right? Yeah, Boba Fett, right? She is Fennec.
yes, I think she is. And
Yes,
if you look up the cast, there's also the guy
Steve
that plays
Buscemi,
her mentor, Steve Buscemi's in. He's fantastic. The guy that plays her mentor, Doctor. Flip, I watched
Doctor
this
Sid,
last night.
Donald Sutherland,
Sid.
maybe
Donald Sutherland is fantastic in this movie. He is brilliant. The way he brings out this
from the
character,
Hunger Games.
oh yes, Hunger Games, Mash. Oh man, he's just fantastic in
Okay,
this movie. I cannot recommend it more. Sorry, it's
so it's definitely a out there pick, but it's clearly a film that you love, and I respect the pick. Well, we've got a job now, Ben. So we have two saved movies, but obviously on this show there can only be three. So we need to start whittling down our middle list. So I
so. Are
think
we
the way
doing
we
what we
should,
did last time?
I think what we should start with doing is both of us should remove one free of charge. So it brings me immense joy, but the first one I want to remove is Warcraft. Oh,
I knew it.
I despise it. I'm sorry. It's just so boring. I can't sit here and let you defend that movie. Um,
Nah, fair. I've
so
defended it enough.
that's my pick for removal. What about you?
So now I have a choice because three of these are my picks, and
Yeah,
the one you picked was a good movie. So uh, I'll take it.
I thought you might. I thought you might. Okay, that leaves some good discussions then. So we're left with three, and there's only one spot available. And in this multiverse where, to be fair, if this is the multiverse where all these movies are gone, I want to be living in it. Um, I'd be happy with a universe where we haven't had the existence of these films, apart
I
from the
mean,
three we're saving.
there's another
So
there's another franchise we have to put in there, which I almost put in as it just missed my list, which was Resident Evil.
Yeah, I considered Resident Evil, but I just again they're forgotten now anyway. But let's put it on the list just so we can
Yeah.
acknowledge that we've acknowledged the films and we did think about them. But we're left with three. Obviously, one of them's mine. Um, to be fair, I've already had two films of mine make the saved list, and I'm not attached to Tomb Raider. It's not something I'm like particularly willing to fight tooth and nail for. So, if you would rather Silent Hill or Final Fantasy make that list, then I'm happy to let Tomb Raider go.
So since you've allowed it, I'm gonna fight for Final Fantasy Spirits Within with all my might.
All right, let's get rid of Tomb Raider.
I'm
And we're
sorry.
left with Silent.
I
Okay,
love
so
that movie way too much. It was fantastic.
So I feel like this one's going to be a bit quicker. I can't argue with what you said because I haven't seen either of these movies. These were both your picks, and obviously Final
Mhm.
Fantasy was your number one pick. So clearly that's the one you want to save. The way, just give me like 30 seconds like of why Silent Hill should be saved and why Final Fantasy should be saved, and I'm going to make the decision. But it's probably going to be Final Fantasy
Okay.
because that's your number one. I just want to hear a bit more
Okay.
about each movie.
So arguing for Silent Hill first. The movie is a awesome rendition of the Silent Hill games. If you have not played the games, it is a good horror movie to watch. Um, and it's basically it has an awesome plot twist at the end. You kind of on tenterhooks from start to finish, um, as you should with a good horror movie. It's a as far as horror movie goes, it's good. And so yeah, I would save it for that reason and that reason alone.
I'm going to have a look at its Rotten
Yeah,
Tomatoes just to
it'll
get
be
a.
rubbish whatever it has. Should be higher whatever it has.
So Final Fantasy was 47 and Silent Hill is 32.
What?
Yeah. So okay, and why? And you've already explained about Final Fantasy. So
Yeah. So
Ben, these
Final
are both your.
Fantasy. There's just one thing that I'm going to say. The animation is fantastic.
Okay. I can't really pick because these I haven't seen either, and based on the Rotten Tomato score and obviously your own picks, I'm thinking we need to say Final Fantasy because it's your favorite and it was your number one. So sorry, Silent Hill. Maybe in another multiverse where someone else is saving these movies for some reason because they want to torture themselves, you'll be saved, but not in mine. Not in mine. So Silent Hill is gone. Silent Hill is forgotten. Sorry, Silent Hill. Bye bye. And then we have Final Fantasy moving over to our saved list. And we did it. That
I'm
actually
so
wasn't too
happy about
bad.
that.
I'm surprised because we didn't speak about this beforehand, but we had two of the same picks. And I thought you may have Pikachu, but I was not expecting you to have Sonic. So that was easier than the Pixar one because we had similar picks. But okay, it's time. Time to go through our free saved movies. So, without further ado, the Save My Movies saved movies are number 3, Sonic the Hedgehog. Number 2, Final Fantasy. I've forgotten the colon. Spirits
Spirits
Within.
Within.
It's that good. I've forgotten the name. And our final saved movie with the video game movies, Detective Pikachu. So that wraps it up for this week's Save My
Well
Movies.
deserved.
Please, if you disagree, let us know. If you agree, let us know. Please jump in the comments. Tell us your free save movies. If you think that Final Fantasy is the best movie of all time, then let Ben know. Make his day. If you think it's terrible, then let Ben know and ruin his day. If you think Detective Pikachu is the best, let me know. I want to see if you agree with our number one pick with Detective Pikachu. but it's saved, so we get to view it another day. Thanks so much, Ben, for coming on this with me again today. You obviously have a much better sort of depth of knowledge with video game movies than I do, and you're more forgiving because you actually like most of them. Whereas for me, most of the films on this list I thought were absolute trash, but we did save three. I was able to manage saving three of them, and it's been a lot of fun, even though I don't like these movies particularly.
Well,
So,
hopefully next week we'll actually, or next time we'll actually have a movie list that you'll enjoy.
yeah, so no promises, but it's looking like next week because just to give you a bit of a tease, as we have had the latest Batman with Robert Pattinson come out, we are doing Save My Movies Batman edition for all the
I'm
live
Batman.
action and theatrically released Batman films which have come out. So I'm excited for that. I'm going to watch the new Batman this week to get ready for the show, and it's going to be a fun one. I think I actually like Batman movies, so it's going to be a lot more enjoyable than this one. But this was still a lot of fun. So thanks again, Ben, for joining me, and we really appreciate you watching and hope you enjoyed the show. Please let us know what you think. And until next time, save my movies.